Hey everybody, Dane here with Stalls. This particular video here we're going to talk about is for an image that we have, or I was given for the Printing United show. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this image, which is going to be printed in the apparel zone, and we're going to make it a good DTF print, right? So let's take a look at what I got. So it's open in Photoshop. We have an actual Photoshop file, and this is great and then not so great. So if you took a look at my layers over here, I have all the things. This is the actual live file that whoever built this thing got it to the point where, hey, it's finished, and sent it out, right, to be printed. Which in one way is great, because if there's any adjustments or that need to be made, or we need to do anything, we can do it. The problem with that is, if you take a look at my layers, there's a lot of things that are turned off. Well, did I accidentally turn one off when I opened my file, played around with it, or is what I'm seeing exactly what's supposed to be there? So I don't really know. And honestly, it was a question that I had when I got it, because I wasn't sure. If you take a look, there's lots of things in this file, right? So while it's great to give you layers, and that's good, you could do that, but also which I think is recommended as well, it would be to send an actual PNG, right, with a transparent background. Now, mine has a black background just because I put it on here because I know it's going to be a black shirt, right? We'll take care of that in a second. But so put your artwork, or just go export it as a PNG, and then now this is what we're going to print. So I can't accidentally remove something, a logo or the word by accident, and I don't know what it's supposed to look like because I've never seen this artwork before. Those kinds of things go away, right? So all right, so now I'm in my I have my PNG opened. I know this is going to print as a black shirt, so I'm going to bring it into here, and I'm just going to flatten it. Right, Command D puts it on a black background, or flattens the two layers together. Is what that does. So right now we're going to make some adjustments. Right. So normally what you could do is go to Image Menu and come down to Adjustments, right, and go to Curves. This is what I used to do back in the day. And I'm only showing you this because some people still like to use these things. And you can kind of see we punched up the highlights and the colors, and we pulled back on the shadow areas. That looks pretty good, but the problem is I can't really control it. So this is how I do it. This is what I call file optimizing, right? So I'm going to go to Image Menu, and I'll come down to Adjustments, and I'm going to go to Selective Color first. I'll get this window. So right here where it says Colors, I'm going to drop down the neutrals. And in these boxes, I'm going to go ahead and put 3s. All the way across, right? Hit my tab key, put 3 in there, turn on and off my little preview check. That's pretty good. Let's just see what happens with 5. And take a look. I'm thinking maybe it's a bit much. So let's do 4. All right, we're going to go to 4. Turn it on and off, take a look. All right, so I'm going to go with that. Right? So my next step is Image, Adjustments, Hue Saturation. And right now, I'll get this window. And what I want to do is I'm just looking for my saturation slider. I want to boost all the colors up. So let's go ahead and do that. Somewhere around there. Take a look. Turn it on and off. Looks pretty good. I don't want to go too far. If you go too far, you ruin it, right? So you definitely want to make sure you control the amount of push. Because when you push it, you can introduce other color pixels in it. So that looks pretty good. I'll go ahead and hit OK to that. My next step is Image, Adjustments, Brightness and Contrast, right? I'm going to hit this Use Legacy, and I'm going to put in a 5. And I'm just going to tell you, this is the only time I'll give you a number. Put 5. And all we're doing is, if you take a look, it's just a subtle bump in contrast. Kind of hard to see on screen and video, I'm sure, but it's just an extra little boost. I'm good with it. I hit OK to that. All right, next step, I'm going to change my mode. I'm going to go to Image Mode, Lab Color, right? And I'm doing that for this. If I go to my channels now, I can see this is my lightness channel. That's the detail in my file. This is my color information on these 2 channels. So we're not going to select those 2. We're only going to select the lightness channel. So now that's all the detail in my image, and we're going to sharpen it. So I'm going to filter now, right? And I go down to Sharpen, Unsharp Mask. And you can take a look at your main image, your subject matter. If it's a thing with a face, look at the face typically, right? So I'm just going to kind of push I'm holding my mouse down here. That's my original. When I let go, that's my sharpened. So it sharpens a bit. I don't want to go too much because this was a low res image, I guess, initially when it was created. I'm guessing by just all the stuff happening to it. Or maybe it was some sort of effect that they put on it. I'm not sure. So I'm going to hit OK to that. So I'm going to go back to my mode and go to RGB. Right? So that to me is what we're going to print. We need to make some adjustments to it. So now we're going to turn it into a half-toned transfer. So let's do that. Let me go to my layers, and I have a flattened background, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to Select Menu, and I'm going to come down to Color Range. And I'm going to select my black background because I want to select all the black in here. So normally what I'll do is I'll start at 100% on this fuzziness slider. So we want you to look at what's happening in here, right? So looking at my image, you can see what you see in white is where my black areas were, right? So that's how much of the black we're going to remove. So if I do this, if I go to 125, now you can take a look. It's even more, right? So I got a lot more of that out. And this is why it's important. That means that there's going to be openness in those areas, so that my transfer is going to have a much softer hand because my halftones are going to allow me to blend, like fade into the shirt, and then there'll be the black of the shirt showing through, right? So that looks pretty good. I'm going to go with that. I hit OK to that. So now we just selected my black. So now if I go ahead and do this, I'm going to duplicate my file because we're going to need it in a minute. So back to my original layer, I'm just going to hit delete. Right, so I just deleted all the black that was in here. Now you still see some black, it's actually gray. That's the transitional areas that fade into the black shirt, right? So but look how much openness we have now. So now when we make these halftones and we print this shirt, this transfer on the shirt, it's going to be much softer handed because there's a lot of information that's gone. Because if we didn't do it that way, if you look at my original here again, that whole entire rectangle would be solid ink, solid white ink, solid adhesive powder, right? So it's just going to be a heavier handed image, whereas this one is a lot less, right? So knowing that, I'm going to do this. So now I'm going to select everything on that layer and back into my working file here. So I'm going to hold my Option key or the Alt key or the Command key, I guess, and select everything on that layer. Create a new layer. I'll turn the eyeball off just so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So now my new layer is selected. My foreground color over here is black. So if I Option delete, fills my selected area with my foreground color. So what you see in black is my mask, right? That's what's going to have all our inks, all our white inks, and that's what's going to hold the powder. Well, you see all these grays and then all that transparency. You can see the checkers through there, right? So that means those are all going to be open holes, which is going to be a lot lighter, really nice. So now I got to duplicate my file. So I'm going to go to Image, and I'm going to come down to Duplicate. And I'm just going to hit OK. So now, in order for me to get to halftones, that's what we're going to do in this file. So I got to go to Grayscale, then I got to go to Bitmap. So I'm going to go to Image, Mode, and you see my Grayscale. Look, I got to get to Bitmap, but you see it's grayed out. So I'm going to go Grayscale first, and I'm just going to go ahead and merge it because you're going to have to anyway sooner or later. So now all the color information is gone. And now I'm going to go back to mode. Now I can get to bitmap, right? So I'm going to click on it, and it's okay to flatten because you don't have a choice. So here's halftones, right? So 300 pixels per inch. That's my output. That's my resolution. That's what I want. I hit OK. 20 lines, 61 degree angle with an elliptical dot shape. These are the halftone information numbers that I use. And if you guys remember, old school screen printer, way back in the day, 32 line was a big dot we can hold on screen. Well, this is even bigger. But a DTF's going to be, it's got the adhesive powder, right? That's the key. If you don't do any of this, you get this snot edge around. So, you want to make sure you do a good print. This is how you get there. I hit OK to that, and there's my halftones, right? So if I zoom in, you can see them. All right, so now I got to get this file or this channel into my working document. So in order to do that, I have to go back to my mode, right? So image mode, grayscale, and I get this. I get my size ratio. That's default. Just hit OK, right? So now we're in grayscale mode, and I can do this. I can drop my tab down, right? Just pull it out of the way, and I'm gonna go over here to my channels, and I want to grab my grayscale channel. I'm just gonna drop it in place, and it puts it right where it belongs. And you can see it here as alpha 1, right? So I'm gonna go to my layers. I'm gonna turn this one off. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and I could just do it this way, right? So this is my original, I'm going to do it this way because we made adjustments. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer and put black underneath it. Right, I'll explain why in a second. So this is what my print will look like. I will come here and just kind of put it flattened on a black background. So what I'm trying to do at this point, I want my artwork, my adjusted artwork, on that black background. So now I'm going to go out and I'm going to load in my halftones, and then I'm going to pull that out on its own layer, and we do that now. So I'm going to go to select menu. I can get rid of this. We don't need that one anymore. Yeah, don't save it. Just stole the body part from it. So select menu, load selection, and I want to load my Alpha 1 channel. And there it is. So all those things are there. And if you take a look, my artwork is selected, right? The halftones are selected. So now if I just hit Command J, right, or Control J, you get this. So this is going to be my transfer file that I use. I take this and I print it. If I put a black background behind it, by the way, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So I can zoom in here, by the way. And what you see, these are the dark colors and the black, right? You see some black in there, but that's just going to make the transition from the color to the darkness and then into the shirt. And it's going to be, the shirt will show through where you see these checkers, right? Where that those open holes are. So knowing that, I can go ahead and take this file and actually export it. But I want to do this first. We're going to make sure that we get rid of all the stuff that's too small. So what you need to do is the point of a halftone for DTF is to have a big enough spot for it to hold your ink, your white backer, and your adhesive powder, right? So, and that means when I print it and I smash it down and I peel that carrier away, I want my artwork to stay on that shirt. I need it to be big enough for the adhesive powder. If I don't put halftones in it and I print it and I peel it away, it'll stay there. I'll see an image, but you're going to have a haze all around the edge, because that's what I call snot. That's my high-tech term. I don't know, it's just me. But what it is just the adhesive powder squeezed out, and you see the powder right after it's been smashed down. It just looks terrible. It looks like snot. So that's why I use it. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select this guy, right? Command, Control, click, select everything. If I go to select menu, and I'm going to modify it, I'm going to contract it by 2 pixels, all right? And I hit OK. Now I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can kind of see. Then I'm going to go to my select menu. I'm going to modify it, and I'm going to expand it by 2 pixels. All right, let me do this first. So now I went 2 pixels down, and then I went back to a different position. So now when I delete, so if I inverse this guy, right, select, inverse, delete, didn't look like anything happened, but what happened was we got rid of any dots that were too small. And go to my history. Where's my history? Here we go. You see some of that difference there, right? There's dots in here that are too small to hold the adhesive powder and transfer. So once you run that last step, now we're good. So if I go to File, Export this guy, File, Export as PNG, I'm going to print that. That's my file. That's what I got for you today. So I will tell you this, I will be in Impressions next week as well with you guys. I have, I think, 4 classes. I got an all-day workshop on screen printing artwork, an AI artwork class. I have a Photoshop 101. That's going to be fun. It's been a minute since we did Photoshop stuff. And DTF class. There you go. All artwork related, obviously, because that's my zone. So if you're going to be there, come see me. Come check them out.